Have you ever heard of a man so close to Allah that his every prayer was answered? A man who knew the greatest name of Allah, a name that could make the heavens tremble. This was the story of Balʿam ibn Bāʿūrāʼ. He wasn't a prophet, but his piety granted him a spiritual rank beyond imagination. He lived a simple life in the land of Sham, far from worldly distractions, spending his days in remembrance and his nights in prayer. When he spoke, hearts would soften. When he prayed, his words flew directly to the divine throne. He was a symbol of holiness, a beacon of light for his people. But even the brightest light can be extinguished by the faintest whisper of desire. This is the story of how a man who touched the heavens fell to the earth. And a cautionary tale for every soul. The test came when the army of Prophet Moses, approached the lands near Jericho. Fear gripped the hearts of the local Canaanites. Terrified, they didn't turn to repentance, they turned to Balām. They came to him crying, "O Balām, Musa and his people are coming to destroy us. You have power in your prayer. Please curse them and save our land." Balaam's heart sank. He knew Musa was a true prophet of Allah. "How can I curse a messenger of my Lord?" he refused. "What you ask is a rebellion against God himself." But the people were desperate. They pleaded and begged, but he stood firm. So they came back. But this time they didn't come with tears. They came with gold. They laid before him piles of treasure, gleaming gold, sparkling jewels, and luxurious fabrics. They whispered words that stroked his ego. "You are our leader, our chosen one. We will make you great. Only you have the power to save us." He tried to resist, but the temptation was relentless. That night, alone with the glittering treasure, the whispers started in his mind. "You've devoted your entire life to worship. What's the harm in taking a small reward? It's just one prayer." He tried to seek refuge in his usual worship, but his tongue felt heavy. The sweetness of his faith was suddenly masked by the blinding gleam of gold. The man who once spoke to the heavens was now listening to the whispers of the earth. His resolve was crumbling. The next morning, Balām saddled his donkey. He set off towards the mountain that overlooked the camp of Musa's army. His steps were heavy, his heart already darkening with doubt and greed, but halfway up the mountain his donkey suddenly stopped. It refused to move another inch. Balām, frustrated, struck the animal. It didn't budge. He struck it again, and again it stood firm. Then, by a miracle from Allah, the donkey spoke. "O Balām, why are you beating me? Have I not served you faithfully all your life?" In that moment, Allah revealed a sign to him. He saw angels standing in his path, their swords drawn, blocking his way. But his heart, now veiled by desire, could no longer see the truth. When a heart willingly turns away from the light, even a miracle becomes meaningless. Ignoring the divine warning, he pushed his donkey forward, riding blindly towards his own destruction. From the top of the mountain, Balām gazed down at the camp of the believers. Thousands of tents were spread across the valley, a nation protected not by stone walls, but by unwavering faith. He raised his hands to the sky, just as he had done countless times before. But this time, it was not for devotion. It was for betrayal. He opened his mouth to utter the curse, but the words twisted on his tongue. Every curse he tried to direct at Musa and his people turned back and landed upon his own people. Allah had turned his gift against him. Instead of curses for the believers, blessings poured from his lips. The Canaanites who had bribed him watched in horror. Their supposed holy man had become the instrument of their enemy's victory. Balām realized with sheer terror what was happening. The very gift he was abusing was being stripped from him. He had lost control of the tongue that once invoked Allah's greatest name. In that moment, he was no longer a vessel of light. He had become an empty, broken shell. The power he cherished was gone, replaced by a dreadful silence within his soul. Filled with shame and rage, Balām turned to the Canaanites who had hired him. His heart, now completely darkened, devised a wicked plan. "If I cannot curse them," he hissed, "then I will make them sin, and their own Lord will be the one to punish them." Following his evil advice, the Canaanites sent their most beautiful women, adorned and perfumed, to the borders of the Israelite camp to seduce the men. Tragically, the plan worked. Some of the men, weak in their faith, fell into temptation and committed grave sins. This disobedience opened the door for divine punishment. A devastating plague swept through their camp, swift and severe. It only stopped when the righteous among them stood up and restored order through repentance. Balām watched the destruction from afar, his heart hollow and bitter. He hadn't wielded a single sword, yet his scheme had led to immense suffering. But in the end, Allah's plan prevailed. The believers were purified of their weakness, and Balām was left completely and utterly in ruin. He returned to his town, but he was no longer the man they revered. The gold he had coveted lost all its shine. The people who once praised him now whispered his name with disgust and turned their backs on him. The tongue that was once his greatest asset, the source of his power and connection to the divine, now hung limply from his mouth, panting like a dog, as the Qur'an describes. He could no longer pray. He could no longer speak words of light. He had traded an eternity of closeness to Allah for the fleeting glitter of this world. And so Allah revealed verses in the Qur'an to immortalize his story, and recite to them the story of the one to whom we gave our signs, but he broke away from them. So Satan pursued him, and he became one of the deviants. And if we had willed, we could have elevated him by them, but he clung to the earth and followed his own desires. So his example is like that of a dog. If you chase it, it pants, or if you leave it, it still pants. That is the example of the people who deny our signs. The lesson of Balām ibn Bāʿūrāʼ is timeless. He wasn't defeated by an army or struck down by an enemy. He was destroyed by his own inner desire. He was given knowledge, status, and a direct line to the divine, enough to elevate him to the highest ranks. But he chose the mud of the earth over the light of the heavens. His knowledge couldn't save him, his status couldn't save him, because when a heart chooses greed, it loses peace forever. His story is not just a tale from the past, it's a mirror for every single one of us. It's a chilling reminder that knowing the truth is not enough. We must also have the strength to follow it, especially when our desires pull us in the opposite direction. It asks us a profound question. What are we willing to trade for the fleeting pleasures of this world? And is it worth the price of our soul? Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that feeds the soul. See you in the next one.